Hello. The next series of videos you will watch, I will be posting on Thursdays. I'm going to be calling it Throwback Thursday. And these are videos that I had originally posted for instructional purposes on my old YouTube channel. They did decently well, especially for somebody who wasn't maintaining a YouTube channel at the time. I hope you enjoy.
Hello, class. I'm sure by now you guys have been working very hard trying to figure out how we can use Google spreadsheets to create frequency histograms and polygons and ogives. Well, I wanted to make this video to kind of give you a hint, and I'm going to show you the best ways I have found to make those. Now, this doesn't mean they are the only way. I haven't played with it long enough to understand that these most certainly are the only ways. I'm sure you've been working with your frequency distribution trying to either get class limits or class boundaries or midpoints and then divide it amongst the frequency. And if you have successfully done that, please let me know how you did that because I would love to know. Share that with me right now. However, this is the easiest way I have found. And ironically, what I'm going to do is just type in this data set into Google Spreadsheets. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to open up a dual screen so that I have the entire data set visible to me. I'm just going to go straight across 2114, 2468, 2468, and I'm just going to go through this until I'm done. This time I should have all of my information typed in, so I'm going to enlarge my screen. Now, the purpose of going through the frequency distribution and then creating the histogram and all that was so that when we finally get our product on Google Spreadsheet, we have something to compare it to. We have, in a sense, our own answer key. So as it said in the instructions, I'm going to insert chart. And because this is the only data I have typed in, it's going to assume that this is the data I want, and it automatically gives me a line chart. Well, I don't want a line chart. I want a histogram. And you'll see all these different options, x-axis and so forth, but it already gives me the x-axis. Now, here's the nice part. I can customize this as I need to. So say horizontal axis. I know that my smallest value was 999.5. I'm going to go off my class boundaries. And then I'm going to make sure my largest is 7,119.5. Okay. And you can see right there it changed. But see, it's still got 5 classes. It doesn't have 6 like we require in our problem. So let's go ahead and fix that. And if we go to, sorry, not chart style, but histogram, we're going to find something here called bucket size. And it's not evidently clear what this is, but it is auto. And I can change this as I need to. I'm going to change it to 6. And you see right there, I thought 6 meant it'd make it 6 classes, but it doesn't. What it does is it makes it into classes of 6. So what do we want? We want classes of 1,020. So bucket size is the range of data that it covers. And there we have it. We can see these classes, 999.5 to 2019.5, and so on. And if we drag our mouse over the top, we can see the range and the count. We don't have to guess. Now, at this point, we can title stuff. I'm going to title this July sales. And then we could even, if we wanted to, title our horizontal axis. Our horizontal axis is sales in dollars. And then if we wanted to title our vertical axis, we can title it frequency. All right, so there's our histogram, and I'm going to title this Stats Lab. You can go ahead and label yours whatever you want, just so I don't like things being untitled. And I'll title this histogram. All right. Now, as was also pointed out in the instructions, we want to do a relative frequency polygon, and we also want to do a ogive. So this is where the additional information comes in, but I don't want to delete this. I want to see all of my work laid out. So I'm going to hit this plus add sheet right here, and that's going to give me a new sheet, and I'm going to be able to create it from there. All right, and so I'll go ahead and name this one Polygon. We don't need to get too fancy with our names. Now this one, this is where our frequency distribution comes in handy, and this is proof that you didn't waste your time doing it in the first place. I know the histogram seemed like a little sleight of hand, but we're good here. So what I'm going to want to do now, frequency polygon, I'm going to go ahead and use the midpoints. So I'm going to leave a space here, and I'll explain why in a second. I'm going to go 1509.5, 25, 29.5, 35, 49.5, 45, 69.5, 55, 89.5, and 66, 09.5. All right, and I'll go ahead and put in the frequencies 12, 3, 2, 3, 1, 1. Okay, so we'll go ahead and insert our chart. Now immediately it's going to default now to the bar graph because we gave it 2 column data. And it's actually not a histogram this time, it's just a good old-fashioned bar graph. Remember, a bar graph allows us to just organize the data as we need to, whereas a histogram, we need the bars touching and it's categorized. All right, but a frequency polygon comes in one of these area charts, and I'm just going to go ahead and select the first area chart. All right. Now, there's some rearranging to do because this doesn't look quite right. So my data range, I'm going to go ahead and select A2, and I'm going to add another range. I'm going to add my frequencies. And this one, I'm going to recategorize it to A2 to A7. Okay. Now, add axis, I'm just going to go ahead. The axis, remember, we want to be this class right here. Okay. I'm actually, because this edited it for me, I'm going to delete this, and I'm just going to change this to B. Probably should just do that. There we go. Now it's looking more like a frequency polygon. But remember, with the frequency polygon, we want it connecting to the axis. So this is why I left this space here. I want this to equal the previous midpoint. So what would that be? That'd be 1509.5 minus my class size of 1020. And that gives me 489.5. Well, that's a class that doesn't exist for us, so we're just going to put in a frequency of 0. And we're going to want to do one more, 6609.5 plus 1020, and that's a 7629.5. And again, frequency of 0. So you can see it kind of edited it for me. So let's go ahead and make sure we fine-tune this. My data range is going to be from B1 to B8. And my axis that I add, if it will let me, there we go, will be from A1 to A8. All right. And this we can go with our minimum values. We can go with our minimum values of 489.5, 489.5. Keyboard's malfunctioning. To the 7629.5. And there we go. If we go back to setup and click aggregate, it's going to set it up so that it perfectly matches with the midpoint of our class. Now, at this point, you're probably yelling at your screen saying, Mr. Duffy, you said relative frequency polygon, not a frequency polygon. Yeah, you're right. I did. What I wanted to do was show you that if we make a mistake like this in this moment, we can change our data as we see fit. Now, here's the nice thing about Excel. If you didn't have your frequencies or your relative frequencies, ready, then you can calculate them on the spot. Well, let's look at this. We have 12, 15, 20, 22 data points. If I wanted to click equals 12 divided by 22, you can see it's going to convert it for me. And the chart is going to fix it for me as well. So this is the benefit in getting your chart set up, and you go, oh no, I accidentally did a relative frequency polygon as opposed to, or a frequency polygon as opposed to a relative frequency polygon. And we don't need to fix the zeros because 0 divided by 22 is 0. And now it takes on a similar shape that it did before. Now for our ogive, go ahead and rename it. We're going to want, remember in class we discussed how we want the upper class boundaries to be our data points. We're going to set this up kind of like we did the polygon. So I'm going to go with 2019.5. I'm going to go with 3039.5 and so on, 4059.5 until I get all of them 7,099.5. Sorry, 6,099.5. And then 7,119.5. And then our cumulative frequency. Well, if we think about it, we also want our initial lower frequency. Remember, this is kind of like saying that this was the upper class boundary of the previous class with a 0 frequency. And that's where we want to start. We think if we start at a value of 999.5, how many values have I counted up to this point? And it's been 0 because our minimum value was 1,000. Then we go through the class and we get to 2019. And how many have we counted up? We count 12. And then the next one is an additional 3, so that gives us 15, then 17, then 20, 21, 22. Now we'll insert our chart. And again, usually with 2 frequency data, 2 columns, it will give me a bar chart. We can go ahead and change that to a line chart. We'll go ahead and aggregate. And there you have it. You have an ogive.